Okay, we got an educational tour, first read.
So the board policy, just so the board's on the same page, is any trip that is overnight, more than 200 miles, or out of state needs board approval. Now, when you look at our board policy, it's 6:240. Yes, it's a little weird that I have that memorized already, but I can tell you I've spent a lot of time on that in these last 8 years. So basically, there are 3 trips that occur at Riverside Brookfield High School. Your traditional field trip, and unless that's overnight, more than 200 miles or out of state, the board will traditionally not see those. That's addressed by the principal, assistant principal. Educational tours are something that it relates to a curricular experience for that class or for that extracurricular activity, but it's not part of the required curriculum. So it is optional for the students. Usually educational tours are over 200 miles, are overnight, or are out of state, and so the board will see those. There's a third educational tour that, what's the third name of the trips that are not school oriented? Is there, I know we have a,
Not sponsored.
but there's a non-sponsored school trip. Sometimes you'll get our staff members that work with a third-party travel agency, and they'll maybe be doing a study abroad experience in Ireland or in Spain or different locations like that. So for that, we specifically have a waiver that students, the teacher has to sign and I sign, and it goes to every parent that specifically says this is not a school trip and the school assumes no liability for this trip. With educational tours, we'd like to let you see it at least once for a first read and then approve it at a second read. The idea of that is usually we try to get these to you early, as the music sponsors mentioned, like the one you're going to see tonight. It's for the trip into California in February, but they want to give students plenty of time to start fundraising. Kristen can go through the general background information, but I thought it was important so when you start to see these educational tours or overnight field trips, you'll know what they deal with.
Whenever possible, we try to group them together. So you'll see usually a group come at the beginning of the school year, and then again for second semester, and then again typically for summer. This one is coming a little out of that sequence because it is a more expensive trip and they want more time to fundraise. So the music staff plans on a biannual basis an educational tour for students to participate and perform in a unique location, and then always also to participate in a clinic. On average, about 125 students in our music program participate on these trips. Music in particular, it really tries to go over a long weekend so that students don't miss any instructional time, and that is the case with this particular request. Also, you heard the music sponsors talk about fundraising. There have been music students in the past that will fundraise and cover the entire cost of their trip. That's how many cheesecakes they sell or candy bars. They're really passionate. So it is an opportunity really that if a student's ambitious, any student can go on this trip. And so this particular trip is from Friday, February 14th, which is an Institute Day, to Monday, February 17th, which is President's Day. During the trip, students will perform at Universal Studios Hollywood and participate in clinics at UCLA. It's also a great way to get in a college visit for these students. My board book is not loading right now, but the cost is approximately, depending on how many students per room, and when we can lock in those rates, it's approximately $1,500 per student. And I can, like I said, I will guarantee that almost every student that goes will choose to participate and have some of those costs offset. Right now, you'll see that there are the 2 music teachers that are sponsors, but they will also bring several parents depending on how many students participate. And so once they know how many students are going, they'll secure the appropriate amount of parents, and they'll go through background checks before they leave as well.
Is there a rule of thumb for like student to chaperone ratio?
Yeah, we have that in our field trip policy. I want to say it's either 10-1 or...
It's usually 10-1 is what
Okay.
we prefer. There's a range, but we prefer
Right.
10-1.
So I'll just say, I had the privilege of going with the group to New York. We brought 160 kids to New York. And we didn't lose anybody. And nobody got in trouble. It was really quite a fantastic trip. So, and they got to sing in Carnegie Hall, and the band played on the Intrepid, and they saw a play and got to go to Times Square, and we got to see Radio City, and just really a nice experience.
This looks like a pretty fabulous trip.
Yeah.
So if the board has any questions, please submit them for the June meeting. But we'd like to bring it for a vote at the June meeting.
Has the board ever denied a proposal like that?
We've had to go back,
Most
to the
recently.
sponsors. And I would never say deny, but I think we've had to go back with the sponsors to clarify, funding opportunities and specific dollar amounts, and clarify information like that to make sure we had gender
We just had one where there was.
but never been denied.
Right.
Right. Like
Where
this one
there-
says the airplane travel estimated $550. That's a pretty good deal if you can get that.
Right.
Right. So it might go up per person.
Wait for the Southwest fares to drop.
Yeah, okay, that's Southwest business.
They probably haven't released their
Don't get
Southwest for
upset. But we had just
They're gonna lock
recently.
them in. These groups sit around, they wait, and they lock up a block once it's
Right.
released, yeah.
Sure.
We just
So-
recently had one where there wasn't both male and female sponsors going.
There were 2 male coaches, and it's an all-female sports team.
Yeah, there you
So
go.
they're going to be bringing at least one, if not
Right, we just
more
want to make sure that there was a female.
Got it.
parent chaperones.
All right. Matters for closed session. Personal student discipline, purchase, sale, lease of real property, probable imminent pending litigation, collective negotiation, school safety. It's another opportunity for visitors. Pass that. Discussion items. Is it-
Any requested?
Oh, any requested discussion items?